each one of you here tonight.
I'll try it.
I'm colorblind.
Do I have to stay back here with you?
Well, one light means the same to me as another.
The other one.
Doesn't look any different to me. We studied about Daniel in the lion's den. But, Miss Karen, what does that tell us about Daniel? Ma'am? Courage. He was a man of conviction. And he was a man of prayer. Prayed every day. And because some heathen said, you're not to pray to any other God or make any kind of request of any other person but me, who considered himself a god. And if you do, you'll be thrown in the lion's den. And he was thrown in the lion's den. An angel held their mouth closed, and he lived to see the next day, and the king let him out. So he was a man of prayer, a man of conviction, a man of courage. Now, what you have to understand, when you pick up the Bible, you're picking up a piece of literature. And most literature has different types of language. Doesn't have just the same language. Even a newspaper, well, if we have those anymore, they have different types of language. The newscaster has different types of speech. Okay, so the Bible is written in human language, so when we come to the Bible, we shouldn't be surprised when the Bible has different types of speech. Now, in chapter 1 through 6, we finished 6 last week. That literature is historical. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't have any other kind of literature in it. That just means, for the most part, it is historical. But when you come to chapter 7, all the way through the end of the book in chapter 6, we have a different type of literature. It's called apocalyptic. And it comes from a Greek word, the word apocalyptic. Didn't come from Hollywood. But it means to reveal. Apocalyptic language was written to reveal something. Now, it's a different type of language. And you really start seeing apocalyptic language in the Bible beginning with Daniel. Zechariah is apocalyptic. Revelation, no S on it. It is apocalyptic literature. Okay, we need, before we get into that type of literature, we need to understand what are its characteristics. It is highly symbolic and uses a lot of imagery. It generally talks about the judgment of the ungodly and the protection of the godly. Usually it was written in a time when God's people were in big trouble. You ever been in big trouble? It was usually written when they were suffering greatly. And it was written to encourage them to remain faithful in the face of things that were horrible, even death. Like the book of Revelation was written to people who were suffering. And it was an appeal for them to be faithful unto Christ, regardless of what it cost, and it would be worth it. But apocalyptic literature did not begin in the book of Revelation. You have, from Daniel, all of these chapters are apocalyptic. So when we read these chapters, we shouldn't expect the same thing, the same type of literature that we got in chapter 1 through 6. We should expect a different type of literature because that's exactly what you have. It's different. Most false doctrine in religion comes from figurative language. And people somehow get the idea when it's figurative, you can just make it be anything you want it to be. If this is what it is in your mind, then that's what it is. That's not the way God's revelation worked. Apocalyptic language that was there to reveal a message. Now look in chapter 7 as he begins the apocalyptic portion of the book. In the first year of Belshazzar. What's wrong with that? You can say it. Belshazzar is dead. So what does that tell you? That Daniel and many of the other Hebrew prophets did not write in chronological order. We read about the fall of Belshazzar in chapter 5. Remember the handwriting on the wall, and it said that night he died? Well, then here in chapter 7, in the first year of Belshazzar, it's not chronological. And of course the liberals and people that hate the Bible says, well, whoever wrote Daniel didn't even know this dude was dead. In the first year of Belshazzar, that's just when it happened. King of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his head. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Okay, so in the first year of Belshazzar, Daniel has this dream. And he has a dream, and then he writes it down for us. So we can actually know what he saw. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my visions by night, behold, the four winds of heaven strove upon the great sea. That happens just about every day in South Texas. What other people call hurricanes, we call a windstorm down here. The seas are blowing nearly every day. What does it matter that the wind's blowing on the sea? What is that in there for? It blows on it a lot of times. This is apocalyptic language. When the Bible talks about the wind blowing on the waters or the seas, it's usually in an apocalyptic setting, and it means that God is stirring up the nations. It's not just talking about wind blowing on the water. Who cares? That's not the point. The point is, this is very uncertain times. Things are not looking so good for the people of earth. Do we ever have that in our day and time? About 4 years ago, I thought this country was over. I thought it was all over. And then to hear people defend it, little girls getting killed, and people want to defend that, that's going pretty far. There are many times on earth when we have tumultuous times, and we don't know what's going to happen, and everything is uncertain. Look at verse 3. Here's what he sees. 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse or different from one another. In these uncertain times, Daniel dreams, and 4 different beasts rise up out of the sea. All right, let's go on. Behold, verse 4, the first was like. What is the word like? Go back to 4th grade. I had it in 3rd. Right. It's not the same, it's similar. And you use the word like or as. It's a metaphor. What did he see? He saw this beast, and what was it? It wasn't a lion. It was something like a lion. It was a different kind of a beast. It had eagle's wings. Now, I'll just ask you, you watch National Geographic, how many lions have you seen with wings on them? I hadn't seen too many. And neither had Daniel. So he has this dream, and here's a lion, and it's got eagle's wings. And I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up to the earth, and it was made to stand upon his feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. So all its feathers are plucked out. And it's jerked up out of the water and placed on the land. So these are what we call dramatic imagery. And behold, another beast. That's not all. He sees another beast, a second like. It's not a bear, it's like a bear. It raised itself up on one side. That sounds like to me it's getting, I don't know if y'all have ever had bears charge you. I've had them come after me. It's pretty neat. They raise up on one side and then they come. All right, he raises up on one side and he had 3 ribs in his mouth. They were between the teeth of the creature. And they said unto it, arise and destroy much flesh. So what is this creature told to do? To get a tub full of people and take care of them. He's like a bear. He's already got ribs between his teeth. He's ferocious. After this I beheld another beast comes out of the sea, and this one is like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Now, how would you like to run on this thing at midnight in a dark alley? 4 heads. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast. Dreadful, terrible. That's what he's got trying to get over to us. This dream bothered this man. I remember when I was a little boy, we used to run the drive-in theater, and I went to see some movie one night, and I tell you, I was bothered for about the next 5 years over that dream, over that movie. I couldn't get it out of my mind. And I go talk to my mother about, oh, that's just a movie. I will get over it. That was about the way it was, everything, get over it. So this thing is terrible. It's dreadful. It's strong, very strong. It had great iron teeth. It devoured and it broke in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. It's crushing people with those iron teeth. And what's left, he's stomping them to dust. He said, now this one's different than all the other three, and they're bad enough. I wouldn't want to deal with any of the other three, but I sure wouldn't want to deal with this one. If it doesn't eat you to death, it just stomp you into dust and walk and keep going. So Daniel sees this beast. Then I saw in the night, verse 8. Chapter 7, verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, 3 came up among them, another little horn, before whom there was 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Now, I don't care what you say, horns do not talk, and they do not have eyes. This is apocalyptic literature. Only someone that needs to be in a mental place would think this is literal, so they don't hurt themselves or somebody else. This is a different type of literature we're dealing with in all these chapters. They're not literal. This is literal. You want something literal, you read 1 through 6. 7 through 12 is not literal language. It gives an image, and this image represents something else. And what we have to try to do as we study the words of God is try to understand what these images, what did they represent? Okay, now this one's got 10 horns, but it's got this one little horn, and it comes up, and it's really a mean one. It takes care of the other 3, and it's got eyes, and it's got a mouth. Imagine what Daniel's thinking. What in the world is going to happen to us? That's what I'd be thinking. Now, this one, he had eyes like the eyes of a man. He didn't say he had the eyes of a man. He said they were like the eyes of a man. And he had a mouth that is speaking great things. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the ancient did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. God has wheels. Apocalyptic literature that represents movement. God can go anywhere. And so all of these things represent something beautiful about God. His garment is white as snow. Purity. He has beautiful hair like pure wool. Wisdom. And his throne is like a fiery flame. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands and thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. He's got all these heavenly creatures that work for him to do his will. And now he's opening up the books. Somebody told me the other day, well, I hope my name is in the book of life. That's apocalyptic literature. There is no book of life. That's apocalyptic. That just means that God remembers every person that belongs to him. He doesn't need a book to remind him. God doesn't forget things. Same thing here. He knows what these people have done, and he's going to take care of it. He knows everything. It's like all the books of every deed is recorded, and it's in his mind. And he has these before him. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning fire. This is the fourth beast. What happens to him? He's put into the fire, right? So God takes care of this one. As concerning the rest of the beast, there's 3 still left. You think that's going to give God a problem? They had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. A season and a time just means the perfect amount of time that God had in mind. And for somebody to say, oh, well, that's 1 year, that's 2 years, that's foolishness. I saw the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven. He came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Now, who do you think the Son of Man is? Yeah, he's called that all through the New Testament, right? So Christ comes before him. He comes before the Ancient of Days. All through the Bible, who's the Ancient of Days? God. And there was given unto him dominion, glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit, in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head trouble me. He's seeing all these people being destroyed, God's people, and it bothered him. Why shouldn't it have bothered him? If you care about God's people, well, sure it bothered him. He doesn't understand. Verse 16, I came near unto one of them that stood by, and I asked him the truth of all this. He didn't understand it. I wouldn't have either. And he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. Now he's going to tell him what these beasts represent. This is the meaning. This is the interpretation. This is what all of this means. Verse 17, these great beasts which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. No matter what happens in politics, no matter how nauseating it becomes all over this country and all over the world, we trust in God. Our trust is not in Donald Trump. It's not in Barack Obama. Our trust is in God. And whatever happens, if we stay faithful, we know we're going to be with God forever and ever. We have become members of the kingdom. Hebrews 12:28 says, we receiving a kingdom which cannot be destroyed. When we were added to God's kingdom, we were added to a kingdom that's going to be here forever. Nothing's ever going to move it. So he says, look, these are all the kings that come from the earth. And they're going to do all these bad things. But I am with my people. And they are going to have this kingdom, and they are going to possess it, and it'll be theirs forever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful. This was the worst one, whose teeth were as iron and nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the one which came up, and before whom the other 3 fell, even of that horn he had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. This is the most deadly one. He said, I'm worried about this one. I don't understand this one. And I behold, and the same horn made war with the saints. This horn represents some king of the earth that is going to war with God's people. And he prevailed against them. I thought it said, if God's for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. Okay, but think about this. If you get thrown into the Colosseum at Rome, and all these people are being eaten by wild animals, is God just going to lift you up and let everybody else be eaten? Didn't they kill Christians too? Thousands of them. Exactly. That's the way he prevailed. Because he had so many of them put to death, and yet their soul lived on, and they had a kingdom that would last forever. So he really did not prevail until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Now, we know the kingdom came into existence in Acts chapter 2. We know that. Then he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it to pieces. And the 10 horns out of his kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given unto his hand unto times and times, and the dividing of times. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints most high, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cognations much trouble me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. Now, you think about, what's he talking about? God is over worldly kingdoms. Where did we first learn this? Way up here in chapter 2. Remember the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had, and Daniel interpreted it? And he said the first king is who? Nebuchadnezzar. Then comes the Medes and the Persians. Then comes the Greek Empire. Then comes the Roman Empire. That's the great kingdoms that came into existence and ruled over most of the people of the earth. But look what he says in Daniel 2:44. In the days of these kings, the 4th kingdom, the Roman kingdom, shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall not be destroyed, and it shall stand forever. So, we understand chapter 7 because of what he has already told us historically in chapter 2. He's already told us who these kingdoms are. We don't have to sit around and, well, wonder who that is, wonder who that is. He's already told us in chapter 2. Now, he's giving it in apocalyptic language to represent what these worldly kingdoms are like, and that one day God is going to overthrow all worldly kingdoms. None of them are going to last. And where are the 4 kingdoms now? Dirt, ashes, graveyards. There's no more world-dominating kingdoms because he's already told us who they are in chapter 2, and now in chapter 7 he's given us more information. Now, what are the horns coming out of his head? Horns usually represents power and a king. So it was likely the kings of the Roman Empire that would continue to rule, and there was one of them that was going to take care of 3 of them, and he is going to make war on the saints. Now, as you look through the Roman emperors, the one that makes the most sense to me is Domitian. How do you say it? Who was he, Jimmy? Say it. Domitian. That was his name. And he's the one that made war with the saints. He said terrible things about God. He was totally opposed to the church. This guy is going to do all this damage, but what's going to happen to him? He's going to be judged by God. No evil person will escape God's judgment. Not even these evil creatures that we read about here in chapter 7. Please read chapter 8 for me next time. It'll connect on with chapter 7 and even give you more information about these worldly kingdoms. Thank you.